Let me tell you about the last 2 weeks of my life. I spoke with a 34-year-old marketing manager in Chicago, 12 years at the same company, good salary, 2 direct reports, and she called me because she'd just been told her role was being restructured. Not eliminated, restructured. That's the word they're using now. Her entire department replaced by a suite of AI agents that could generate, test, and deploy campaigns in 4 hours. Not 4 days, 4 hours. The same week, I talked with a financial analyst in Singapore, CFA certified, worked for a top-tier investment bank for 9 years, who told me his junior team had been quietly cut by 60% because a custom language model was doing their research summaries faster and with fewer errors. Now, you might be watching this and thinking, that's not my industry, that won't happen to me. And if that thought crossed your mind, I need you to stay right here for the next 20 minutes, because what I'm about to walk you through is not a warning, it's a blueprint. And the people who survive, no, who win the next 3 years, they're not the ones who panicked, they're the ones who designed ahead of the cliff. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly which roles are on the edge, which skills are becoming the new premium currency, and what specific moves the most forward-positioned income builders are making right now in 2026. We're going to build this blueprint together. Before we get into the data, I want to set the frame for how we think here at WealthForge. Because this channel is not about chasing trends. It's not about telling you what to panic buy or panic sell. What we do here is different. We don't follow the market. We design the moat. In a world of followers, we are the architects of our own freedom. That distinction, architect versus follower, is the single most important mental model you can carry into the next decade of your life. Followers react to what the economy does to them. Architects build systems that work regardless of what the economy throws at everyone else. And what's happening right now with AI and automation? It's the single largest redistribution of economic leverage in the past 100 years. The question is which side of that redistribution you end up on. Let's start with the ground truth that almost nobody is talking about honestly. 2025 was the year the white-collar middle collapsed, not at the edges, in the middle. The entry-level and mid-tier roles that used to be the on-ramp to a career, junior analyst, content coordinator, paralegal assistant, customer success rep, junior developer, those roles disappeared faster than anyone predicted. The data from LinkedIn's own 2025 workforce report showed a 31% drop in entry-level white-collar postings compared to 2023. That's not a correction, that's structural. Here's why this happened faster than anyone expected. For 20 years, the productivity argument was technology makes workers more efficient, so jobs expand. And for 20 years, that was mostly true. Spreadsheets didn't eliminate accountants. They made accountants faster. So the assumption was AI will just make us all faster. But there was a critical flaw in that assumption. The flaw was this. The last generation of tools made skilled workers more productive. This generation of AI doesn't need the worker at all for a growing list of tasks. The output quality crossed a threshold. And when the output quality of an autonomous system crosses the threshold of good enough to ship, the economics change overnight. This is what I call the paradox of productivity. High output no longer guarantees a high salary, because when the system can produce high output independently, your role shifts from producer to optional supervisor, and optional supervisors don't command premium compensation. Now, which industries are currently standing at the edge of that cliff right now? Knowledge process outsourcing, gone. Basic legal research and document drafting, gone. Entry-level financial modeling, largely automated. First draft content at scale, commoditized. Junior customer success and sales development, agentic AI as handling the full funnel. Radiology reading support, AI outperforming juniors in screening speed. And here's one that should get your attention if you're in management. Middle management itself. The coordination and reporting layer, the people whose job was essentially to translate data from below them and directives from above them.
Agentic systems are dissolving that synthesis in real time. This isn't pessimism, this is the map, and when you have the map, you can plan your route. So if that's what's being devalued, what is being valued at a premium right now? I want to give you a precise framework here because the noise in this conversation is enormous. You've probably heard learn to code or learn prompt engineering or get into AI, and those are all surface-level answers that will be obsolete within 18 months. I'm going to give you the structural answer. The shift that matters is this. We're moving from a world that rewarded the creation of content, writing, coding, designing, analyzing, to a world that rewards the architecture of AI-driven systems. Those are not the same thing. Let me make that concrete. A content creator writes a blog post. An AI system architect defines what the AI writes, builds the workflow that publishes it, monetizes it, and iterates it, and does all of that without the creator lifting a finger after setup. A junior developer writes code. A systems architect defines what the AI-generated code should accomplish, builds the deployment pipeline, sets the guardrails, and owns the outcome at the business level. See the difference? One is execution, the other is design. The market is not paying more for execution. The market is paying extraordinary premiums for design, specifically for people who can frame complex problems, orchestrate multi-step AI workflows, and take ownership of business outcomes rather than task completion. Here's what that looks like in concrete skills right now in 2026. Complex system orchestration, the ability to design, deploy, and oversee multi-agent workflows that accomplish real business objectives. This is not using ChatGPT. This is building systems where multiple AI agents hand off tasks to each other and produce compounding output. Strategic problem framing, the skill of defining what the right problem is before any tool is deployed. AI is extraordinarily good at solving the problem you give it. It is completely helpless at identifying the right problem in the first place. That's your leverage. Outcome ownership and judgment, being the person who signs off on what the AI produces, who understands the risk, the brand implications, the regulatory boundaries. Humans with domain expertise and accountability are irreplaceable precisely because accountability cannot be automated. And perhaps most counterintuitively, relationship capital, the ability to build trust with other humans, to navigate organizational complexity, to lead in ambiguity. Those are not skills a language model has.
Those are skills that become more valuable in a world where most interactions are synthetic. What's declining in premium, and this is important to hear clearly, basic coding skills, not software architecture, basic execution-level coding. GPT-4 class models write functional code faster than most junior developers. Basic writing and content creation at volume, routine data analysis and report generation. If it can be described in a structured prompt, its economic value is declining. The currency of the new economy is not what you can do, it's what you can design, oversee, and take responsibility for. Now I want to talk about money, specifically the emerging divide in how money is made, because this is where the architect mindset becomes not just a career strategy, but a wealth strategy. There are two economies forming inside the larger economy right now, and I mean this in a precise structural sense. The first economy is a time for money economy. You sell your hours, your attention, your execution. You get paid when you show up. You stop getting paid when you don't. The ceiling on this economy is directly tied to how many hours you can operate, and that ceiling is being compressed as AI systems can operate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, without a salary, without benefits, without sick leave. The second economy is an outcome economy. You own a system, a workflow, a piece of proprietary infrastructure that produces outcomes while you're sleeping. You get paid not for your time, but for the leverage your system generates.
The most resilient income streams being built in 2026 share one defining characteristic. They are decoupled from manual hours. The moment you require your own hands to be on the keyboard to generate revenue, you are in competition with a system that never takes its hands off the keyboard. That's a competition you cannot win on efficiency alone. So where are the architects, the people building on the right side of this divide, positioning their capital right now? 3 places. First, proprietary data assets. The commodity layer of AI, the models, the compute, the APIs, is becoming democratized. Anyone can access the latest foundation models. What cannot be democratized is proprietary data. If you own a data set, customer behavior data, specialized domain knowledge, a curated training set, you own leverage that others cannot replicate by paying a monthly subscription. Second, custom model layers and fine-tuned workflows. The businesses that will dominate their niches in the next 5 years are not the ones using AI out of the box. They're the ones building custom agent layers on top of foundation models, systems trained on their specific context, their specific customer, their specific domain. That's the moat. That's WealthForge's entire philosophy made manifest. You don't just use the tool, you design the infrastructure around the tool. Third, high-touch human necessity industries. And this is the one that surprises people. The most automation-proof sectors in the economy right now are not the most technical. They're the most physical and emotionally demanding. Healthcare delivery, mental health services, skilled trades, electricians, plumbers, HVAC technicians, complex litigation that requires a human to stand in a courtroom, high-stakes negotiation, senior executive leadership. These require a physical human body, legally accountable, emotionally present. No amount of compute changes that in the near term. The new wealth segregation is simple. Those who own systems that produce outcomes and those who sell time into systems owned by others. That divide is widening every quarter. Okay, we've mapped a cliff. We've identified the premium skills. We've described the 2 economies. Now I'm going to give you the actual blueprint, 3 specific pivots, and a personal enterprise stack, because information without a practical frame is just noise. Pivot 1, from executor to orchestrator within your existing domain. This is the fastest path for people in established careers. You don't need to leave your industry. You need to move one level of abstraction inside it. If you're a marketing professional, stop being the person who writes the campaigns. Become the person who designs the AI system that generates, tests, and optimizes campaigns, and then manages the client relationship around that output. The technical execution is now a commodity. The system design and client trust is the premium. If you're in finance, stop producing the analysis. Design the agent workflow that produces the analysis, QA it, and own the interpretive judgment at the end. That last mile of human judgment is what clients are actually paying for. The practical roadmap? Spend the next 90 days auditing every task you do in a given week, then categorize them into 2 columns. Tasks an AI agent could handle with a good prompt and clear guardrails, and tasks that require your specific judgment, relationship, or accountability. Everything in the first column is your automation backlog. Everything in the second column is your new core value proposition. Pivot 2, build a personal enterprise stack. This is for people who want to go beyond employment, who want to own the outcome layer entirely. A personal enterprise stack is a set of autonomous agents that operate your income-generating activities around the clock. Here's what that looks like in practice. You identify a specific problem in a specific niche, let's say financial planning for freelancers. You build a content agent that generates weekly insights on that topic. You build a lead qualification agent that screens inbound interest. You build a delivery system, a course, a community, a productized service that an AI can partially or fully fulfill. And then you, the architect, manage the strategy, the relationships, and the continued continuous improvement of the system. This is not science fiction. The tools to build this, no-code agent platforms, custom GPTs, automated outreach systems, AI-assisted content pipelines, are available right now, today, with no advanced technical skills required. What's required is the strategic clarity to know what you're building and why. Pivot 3. Reposition into the human necessity industries. If you're in a role that is directly in the crosshairs of automation and you want a clear transition path, I want to make a case for the skilled trades and high-touch health sectors. An electrician who understands smart home automation, EV charging infrastructure, and solar installation is not competing with AI. They're being sought after by AI-driven companies that need physical infrastructure. A mental health counselor who builds a digital-first practice but delivers the irreplaceable human therapeutic relationship, that person's value is rising, not falling. The physical world still needs human hands, and the emotional world still needs human presence. Position yourself at the intersection of those two realities, and you are standing on high ground. Now, the personal enterprise stack, in brief, 4 layers. Layer 1, a knowledge asset, something you know deeply that can be packaged. Layer 2, a distribution system, content, community, or relationships that deliver your knowledge to people who need it.
Layer 3, an automation layer, AI agents that handle the repetitive operational tasks of running that business. Layer 4, a revenue model, productized, scalable, not dependent on your real-time hours. That 4-layer stack is what I mean when I say you're becoming an architect. You're not just working in the system, you're designing the system. I want to close with something practical, not inspirational. Practical. The window for making this transition strategically rather than reactively is narrowing. The people who are repositioning right now in the first half of 2026 are doing so from a position of choice. The people who wait until their role is eliminated will reposition from a position of desperation. Those are very different starting lines. So here is your immediate checklist. 5 things starting today. 1. Run your personal automation audit. Take your last 2 weeks of work activity and sort every task. What's automatable? What requires you specifically? If more than 60% of your work falls into the first category, you are exposed. That's not an indictment. That's intelligence. Use it. 2. Map your 2026 automation benchmarks, not 2023 benchmarks, not last year's. What can the current generation of AI agents actually do in your specific industry right now? This requires 30 minutes of research. Read what your industry's own trade publications are saying. Look at what the AI companies themselves are marketing to your sector. The information is public. Most people just aren't looking. 3. Identify your one proprietary asset. What do you know, or what relationships do you have, or what data do you have access to that cannot be replicated by someone with a ChatGPT subscription? That's your moat. If you can't identify it clearly in one sentence, you need to build it. 4. Build one human relationship this week that cannot be replaced by a synthetic interaction, not a LinkedIn connection, an actual conversation with a person in your space who has complementary strengths. In a world saturated with AI-generated content and automated outreach, genuine human connection is becoming a signal of trust and credibility. Protect it, cultivate it. 5. Make a decision about which side of the divide you're building toward, the time for money side or the outcome ownership side. You can operate in both for a period of time, most people have to, but you need to know which direction you're moving. Ambiguity about that question is what keeps people stuck in the middle of the cliff rather than safely positioned on either side. Here's what I know to be true after hundreds of conversations with people navigating this exact moment. The cliff is real. The drop for the unprepared is steep, but for the people who treat this moment as the design opportunity it actually is, for the architects, this is the most fertile moment in a generation to build something that genuinely belongs to you. That's the entire premise of WealthForge. We don't panic when the system changes. We study the new system and design our position within it. That's what architects do, and that's what you're building toward.
Before I go, I told you at the start of this that we're going to build this blueprint together, and I meant that literally. I'm pivoting my entire income strategy to stay ahead of this automation wave, and I want to build this in public with this community. So here's what I'm asking you to do right now. Drop a comment below and tell me your move. If you had to start over today, knowing what you know now about which industries are being decimated, where would you pivot? Would you go deeper into system architecture? Would you move into a human necessity field? Would you build a personal enterprise stack from scratch? Tell me your move. The best answers I'm going to feature in our next community session, and I'll share what I'm actually building in parallel. Because here at WealthForge, we don't just talk about blueprints in theory, we're building them in real time alongside the people in this community. If this gave you a clearer map for what comes next, hit the like button. It genuinely helps more people who need this information find it. Subscribe if you haven't already, because what I'm releasing over the next 4 weeks ties directly into everything we talked about today. The next video covers the specific tools and agent stacks the highest earners are using right now to decouple their income from their hours, and I'm going hands-on to show you the actual build. Until then, design ahead of the curve. I'll see you in the next one.